Hey everybody, I'm Lynn and I'm here to show you how amazing and mind-blowing iDye Poly from Jacquard Products can be. When you think of dyeing something, you usually think of a shirt, but iDye Poly is for synthetics, so our world is opened up. Of course, everybody's dyed a shirt and they found the stitching stays white. Well, that's because it's a synthetic, and iDye Poly can fix that. iDye Poly can do any type of fiber that is synthetic. So things like underwear, which is a very common synthetic that people want to dye, swimsuits, elastics, anything that is stretchy is usually a synthetic, and iDye Poly is ready for that job. One fiber that's a synthetic that a lot of people don't think about is rope. This is something that is absolutely synthetic. Take your seat belts, for instance. You could customize the color of your seat belts simply by getting a white set and dyeing them with iDye Poly. iDye Poly really opens up the world of customization. So things like wiffle ball, it'll dye frisbees. You can do urethane wheels for skateboards or roller skates. All sorts of really amazing customizations can be made here. Acrylics will dye as well. So this is a resin piece that I'm going to dye today. You may not just have a piece of resin hanging around the house that you want to dye, but you might have a resin doorknob or handle or gear shift that you want to customize or dye. And iDye Poly can do it. Even things like sunglasses. These I'm going to pop the centers out and dye the white to match my swimsuit. You can dye wigs with iDye Poly. The trick is to make sure that you find a synthetic fiber that can withstand the heat of the dye bath. The dye bath has to be at a rolling boil for the color to really take. So make sure that you're not using any plastic that's going to melt at a boiling point. Other than that, the world is your oyster. You can really come up with some cool stuff to dye. iDye Poly is just as easy as iDye for natural fabrics to use, but there are a couple differences. When you open the pack, again, there are a full list of instructions inside. iDye Poly does have an odor to it and should be used in a well-ventilated area. So I prefer to do the hot plate and bring it outside. When you open the pack, you'll find that there's the gelatin pack, just like the other iDye we've used, and there's color intensifier, which can be a skin irritant, so I like to use gloves when I'm handling these. I'm going to put my water on a hot plate with just enough water for everything that I'm going to dye to move around freely. I'm going to drop in my dye packet and then I'm going to add my intensifier. Once those two are added in, I'm going to give it a good stir until everything is fully dissolved. Crimson. So we're going to have everything is going to be a really nice deep red. I've got my hot plate cranked and I'm going to make sure that this comes up to a full boil, and then I'm going to drop all of the things I'm going to dye. If you dye anything that's already a color, remember all dyes are transparent, so it's like mixing those colors. If my swimsuit was a light yellow, let's say, and I put this in a red dye bath, my resulting color would be orange. So keep in mind your color mixing if what you're dyeing is already a color and not white. Great, so now I'm going to set a timer. This one needs a little extra time, so it's going to be in there for an hour, and we'll see the results when we're done. Once your pieces have dyed for at least an hour and you've stirred them along the way, they're ready to come out. Remember, this is hot, so use tongs or something else to pick up your items and move them into a rinse bath. I'm going to put them in a pot here and then rinse them with cool water. Fabrics I will wash with a mild detergent and then dry. And now that the dye is done, it can safely be poured down the drain. Let's take a look at what we've dyed. Here we have our little wiffle ball, which is turned into a nice deep red, but a little bit lighter than our acrylic resin piece that is a nice rich red now. Our sunglasses, I popped the lenses back in, are super dark, almost a purple, but still have that red crimson hue to them. The slip turned out fantastic. This silky smooth undergarment is now really beautiful. Same with my swimsuit, a brand new swimsuit just with a little bit of dye. And the stockings I dyed that had bright white stripes now have dark crimson stripes. So whatever you choose to dye, if it's synthetic in any way, try iDye Poly.